Hello, this video was recorded live at the PowerShell meetup at the Microsoft office in Melbourne. I had a brilliant time, the audience were awesome, and we had a lot of fun mob programming some automated tests. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks, David. I'm going to talk a little bit about this new feature that I recently learned. It was in the Pester testing framework, supporting a Gherkin syntax. Can I get a little indication here? I've got some demos, but I will need some help from you guys to write them. There's no slides, so we'll go through some live workshop and demos. Can I see who uses PowerShell every day? Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant. Okay, cool, because you can help me. Hands up if you're a dev kind of a person. Thanks, Will. And a couple of others at the back. Hands up if you're an opsy kind of a person. Excellent. Kieran and a few others. Excellent. So we've got a good balance, and hopefully you'll find something here that may be helpful. I'm going to walk through a few examples, but I need you guys to help me write some of the code. This is the Melbourne meetup website. And this is one of the things that I'm going to look at in a few moments. My name is Mike Jones. If you Google Mike Jones Techno, one word, Mike Jones Techno, you'll find my blog pages, my GitHub repo, Twitter account. If you do not put the spaces in there, it will find Mike Jones the rapper, and I cannot guarantee the content that you'll find. So Mike Jones Techno, one word. Okay, cool. The examples for tonight's session I have put on my GitHub account, so after the session, if you're interested in getting the scripts, assuming my little hotspot's going to work, thank you, okay, cool. Into this PowerShell folder, I've got a demo BDD, right? So I have got these examples under my GitHub account if you'd like to look at them later. BDD is based off a test-driven development concept, and hopefully those developers in the room will recognize this pattern for TDD, where you first of all start writing a failing test before you write any code. Then you write your code to make the test pass, and then you refactor and clean up the mess afterwards. And you repeat that pattern. It's known as red-green refactor, and you go around this cycle, and you create your tests first before you write your code. Is everyone familiar with this pattern? Yep. Fantastic, brilliant, okay. So BDD is a behavior-driven domain language, and typically we will use this in our acceptance testing. It's business-driven or business domain language. Right? It makes it really easy, human-readable text. So at the moment, I'm using Visual Studio Team Services, and I've got three features. The first feature is to alert a user on an upcoming meetup.com event. And I want to have a little hook into Microsoft Teams. Who uses Microsoft Teams? Hey! Cool. Okay, so who uses Slack? Right. Okay. So this is a real case. I needed to. I wanted to get these alerts. I wanted to hook this together because I kept on forgetting when meetups were on, and I wanted all of my teammates to know there's a meetup. You should come. Right. So I really wanted to explore this. So that's one of my use cases. There's another feature that I want. It's an infrastructure-related feature. I want to deploy and provision a machine, an environment for my app to run. So I've got an infrastructure-related example as well. And I've also got kind of an ops-related activity where, let's say, we might want to zip up or archive a heap of log files. Right? And we've got a script to do that, but I need to make sure that that script is working and behaving as expected. So hopefully there'll be an example that one of you can relate to one of these examples. So this is my first one, getting the alert coming up on meetup.com. This is what it looks like when it's running and working. I get these little reminders coming up for meetup events. And you can see recently there's one here about PowerShell, which is pretty nice, and I can see more and I get the description of the session coming up into Microsoft Teams, and I've made a little summary. And this is using Azure Functions with PowerShell So if you're interested to see this, it aligns pretty much with what David just presented earlier. And I have got a blog. If you go to Mike Jones Techno, you can find my blog. I've explained exactly how to do all of this. Cool. Right. Let's assume that I haven't done it yet, and we need to figure this part out. So I'm going to need some help. I've got stories. Let's go into iteration 1, my first sprint, and we'll pick off this first one and see how we go. I've got, can I maximize that? Cool. So here's my first little feature. As a member of the PowerShell meetup group, I want an alert if there is a meetup later today so that I remember to go. Okay. I've also written some acceptance criteria. Now, if you're in an agile development team, this might be a familiar sort of syntax as a user story. My scenario is, given the meetup API service is available, when I request events for the meetup group, Melbourne PowerShell meetup, then the JSON response contains a session on PowerShell Pester tests. And that's my use case, my user story. Is anyone ever familiar with this? Yeah. Cool, some of us. Okay. Will, are you able to help me out? Can you come up? Yeah. Can you come? Excellent. We haven't rehearsed this. Will's got no idea what he's up for. But we're in a... familiar with pair programming?
Yes.
Cool. Great. So you know that the person at the keyboard doesn't have to do anything. They just type what the next person says.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's easy. Cool.
Yep.
So I'm going to switch over to a PowerShell window. Yep. And I've already got here ready. I'm going to sit down then. Thank you. We already have a command there. I'm just going to create or edit a getMeetup.feature file. Now that file is just a plain empty file. There's nothing in it. Yep. Okay. What I would like you to do is to go back to my Chrome browser. And I want you to scroll up that window a little bit, and we'll copy out all of that content in there. Yep. And we'll paste it into the PowerShell window. Yep. And a new line underneath. And do the same for the acceptance criteria. Yep. Cool. Excellent. Cool. Can you save that? Cool. Excellent. Fantastic. You've just written a test. Well done. Well done. Thanks. Okay. Cool. Now you've just written a executable test. Yep. All right. So in the console window underneath, if you do invoke -G tab, it invokes Gherkin. Press enter. Fantastic. So you've just executed that script, and it's given us a response. Now at the moment, it doesn't know what to do. See the question marks? It doesn't actually understand what to do with any of that, but you have written an automated test. Cool. Okay, cool, great. Who's next? Someone else want to have a go? Come on, up, Ben. Ben? Yep. Up you go. Excellent. Thanks, Will. This is easy, you get used to this. Everyone else in the room will help you to type. You just have to listen to what they say and type what they say. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So, can you save? We now need the steps so that this understands what to do with this file, this feature. Yep. Can you also now go File and Save As? And we will save this as a getMeetup.steps.ps1. Excellent. That's it. Yep. Cool. Yep. Save. Okay. Cool. Now let's remove all of the text above scenario upwards. Let's get rid of all the other lines. It's just the given when then that we need to code up.
Okay. So get rid of scenario.
Yep. Yep. All of that stuff. It's just the text so that it's when you run the test, you get the context and the background. But none of that's executable. You can type garbage in there, and it doesn't matter. It's just like comments. This is the code that we have to now automate and make it do stuff. So we'll first of all, after the words given, let's put the rest of that line number 1 into quotes. Can you use wrap it in double quotes. Great, and then we'll do an open brace, open curly bracket and a closed curly bracket. Excellent. And can you do the same thing for the other lines? Cool. Now what we're doing is we are defining these steps as a Pester executable test. At the moment, they won't do anything, but at least we've now got, at least it now knows some steps here. Great, cool. Can you save that file? Excellent. Can you do the up arrow in there and invoke Gherkin? Excellent. So you now have tests and they passed. Well done. Excellent. Fantastic. So what we've just done, still we've got some code and it's running some steps. It still don't do anything, but at least we've got rid of those question marks, okay? So it knows that there are steps. We now need to make the steps actually do something a bit more useful than just passing. These are passed. It thinks these are passed because there's no exception, there's no error. That makes sense? Okay, these are just empty, right? No error, right? Pass, right? We need to actually make them do something a bit more interesting. Someone else come up. Sorry, okay, I'll walk you through the code. Pedro? Yeah, come on. Sit, be brave. Thank you. I'll get...
Hand out some t-shirts or something.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay. Yep. Fantastic. Okay. Can you go back to Google Chrome? Cool. Back to Google Chrome. Okay, cool. If you scroll down this window, I've actually written myself a little hint because I can't remember this stuff. There's a URI here. That's the URI. Let's copy that out. That's the URI for the meetup.com API. Let's paste that into the second. That's it. Open in here. So we'll leave the given as it is. Some things are just given, and it's a given that it's a given. If this was my API and I owned meetup.com, I might have some code in here for verifying that the API service is running. I might have a process. I'm looking at making sure the process is running. I might have some other code in here to make sure that the API service is actually available. But we'll assume the given is given for the moment. And we'll look at the when. When I request events for the meetup group, let's put some code into here, into those curly braces. So line number 2, yeah, if you can put the mouse cursor between the curly braces. Yeah, great, press enter.
Okay, and paste it here?
Yep. Oh, whoops. Yep,
Sorry?
that's okay. Control Z, well done. Let's put it inside the braces, yep, and maybe a new line.
Okay.
You're doing it right, let's do a new line.
Oh, new line.
Yep. Okay, paste it in here. Fantastic, okay. Yeah. Good, that's okay, it's okay,
Yeah.
that's all right, that's good.
Hey.
Now, if I wanted to invoke this, this web request, what does Pedro need to type if I wanted to invoke this, this web request, invoke this invoke web request? Okay, can you do it as is there one for a REST API?
Yeah.
Okay, new line, press enter.
Okay, new line?
Yep. So with inside the curly braces.
Oh.
Excellent. So what Pedro types invoke? Invoke -r. RE REST method. There it is, REST method. Excellent. Enter. Yep, that's it. Cool. Invoke REST method. Then what?
Dash what?
Dash URI. Yeah. Then what? Yep. Space. Space $URI. Yeah. Space $URI. Yep. Yep. That one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, we're going to do space, and we'll do a method of get. Yeah. Dash. Sorry. Dash. Yeah. Method. Yeah. Yeah. Space. Get. Cool. Right. Let's save. Let's save this.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Up arrow in here.
Okay.
Up arrow.
Yep.
Cool. Enter. Hooray. All right. Fantastic. Well done. Great. We have a failing test. Right. Now, I deliberately, thank you, Pedro. Now, I did make because this is already a live system, and I wanted to simulate this pattern, this behavior. Right. This is what I'm expecting. Actually, it's plural. Okay. The difference is it should be plural in here. And now I'll have the default URL in the post below. But this is what our pattern would normally be. We want to write a test, and it fails. Okay. So, Mr. Developer, I've written my test. You now need to build the API to make this pass. Right. At least, as a minimum, get an API that responds on that port, on that service. At the moment, I'm getting back a 404, right? This thing does not exist, so you have to build me an API that's going to return back a response. That's all. Return back garbage, I don't care. I just want a response, I want this to pass. Then we'll move on to actually making it do something funky, all right? First thing, I need to get a response in here. Okay, so, someone else, next. Come on, Peter, come on, I'll help you. Come on, okay. Come on, cool, thank you. Right. Hey, let's figure this out. Hey, this will be fun. Okay, so next step. If you can go back to that Chrome window and scroll down a tiny bit further, that's the code we do actually want, that one. So I've gone to meetup docs, meetup.api docs, and figured out this is actually the corrected version of that URL. So yeah, just copy that back into the PowerShell window if you can. Copy, yep. And we'll change that line number 3 and paste in line number 3. Sorry, change line number 3.
So change this whole line here.
Yep, delete the whole line. Cool. Now the only thing that really changed is the word events became events, plural. Okay. So Mr. Developer has gone and looked at the coding standards, and we should have it in plural because this can return multiple events. Okay, makes sense. Now can you press up arrow? Invoke Gherkin, yep. Hooray! Right, thank you. You want to take a seat? You want to stay up? Stay up a bit longer if you like. Cool, thank you. All right, we now have a passing test, so we're now actually getting a response back. Now the thing we need to do now is to make this last one do something. I want to make sure that this response is coming back with something that I'm expecting. Okay. So I need to, I guess, get the invoke REST method. I need to somehow capture this, and I need to test for it in this next one here. Suggestions. Variable. Yeah. Okay. Let's put the beginning of line number 4. Yep. Yep, let's make that a variable. Excellent. Okay, yep, line number 6 inside the curly braces. Yep. So let's figure out what we want to get back here. So this might be a $, parenthesis. That will need to go into $, parenthesis. Now inside the parenthesis put $resp. Yep. And after the parenthesis, yeah, yep, so the parenthesis dot description. Yep. Yep, okay, space. Pipe that to should, the word should. Space, minus, dash B. Yep. Let's make that contains. Is there a contains? Dash. Contain, there we go, contain, there we go, PowerShell Pester test, it's on the line above. You can see, yep, so if we can put, that description should contain PowerShell Pester tests. Yep. Yeah, and paste it down. Yeah, let's give that a go. Let's save that file and see if it works. Okay, what happened here? Encoding script block for it should contain PowerShell test. Encoding.
Does it need to be in quotes?
Then it'll be in quotes. Should contain. What am I doing wrong?
Double quotes? Double quotes?
I can do double quotes pretty easily.
It contains section. A parameter cannot be found that matches parameter name encoding as script block.
Can't we
Line
debug
7.
into it and see what the response is?
Okay. How about you execute just line number 4? Can you put that? Yeah, good. Can you put the cursor on line number 4? Yeah, press F8. Yeah, let's execute that. Cannot validate you.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Yeah, okay. Execute line number 3.
Ah, right, okay. So both of these.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, $resp. Okay, so we do have a description coming back.
Lowercase.
Ah, good spot.
Maybe.
Good spot. Yep. Okay, save. Yeah.
Oh, so in the response that you got back, what was encoding in there? If you got, was it encoding?
So why does it even want something called encoding?
That's a somewhere.
Is that
Nah, that's Pester.
Is it in the text?
That's Pester trying to do something with that result in that pipe. So should contain is trying to encode, so do something with that encoding.
How about we change that, remove the word contain and change it to be like. Just to remove the word contain. Yeah, because that's actually and then put an asterisk around the PowerShell Pester test. Put a
Inside.
yes, that's perfect. Yep. All right, try that. Save. Hey. We now have a passing test, and just to be sure, do you want to change the text that we're looking for? So it says be like, remove the word, change that, put in some Z's or something in here. Yeah, that'll do, and then run the test again. Save the file. Oh, yep. Cool, fantastic. Okay, well done. So thank you. How are we doing on time? Okay. Might move on, I might fast forward a few steps. This is helping us to create these human readable, mostly human readable. Obviously the code in here is PowerShell, and the good thing about PowerShell is that it's mostly human readable. Response description should be like this thing. So Pester is already, and PowerShell is already mostly human readable, but the good thing is we've got that other feature file, which this anyone can understand. Okay. Now I'll show you the next slide, the next example of this, where I have parameterized the step code that I can now duplicate this for anything. And this was really good. I actually trained earlier this week a manual tester to write this. And he was, well, oh, hang on, he's writing code. And he's doing more check-ins to the source repo than my developer, who's now struggling to catch up, all right? So I'm now helping out our manual testers. They can do this. This is easy. Yeah, a little bit of guidance on the little PowerShell side of it on the steps, because he's never written a single line of code in his life. But he is able to write steps, right? So once he's got this example, all right, okay. Now check the date, okay? Can you make sure that's coming back with the right date? Can you make sure that's coming back with the right name of that meetup group? Okay, now it's copying and pasting, right? But he can actually now do this. And he has now turned what was going to be, before I stepped in, it was going to take him a week to write up these manual test cases, and then every time they run them, he's got to manually go through and hit the API, maybe in, I don't know, Fiddler or some other tool. Maybe he used Postman extension on Chrome, and then run that. Because this is now automated, and it ran in less than 1 second. It was about 400 milliseconds. This will go into our automated test suite and run every single time there's a check-in. Every single time that developer changes the API, I'm testing it. It's done now in milliseconds. So I'm really having manual testers having a good experience.
Well, the demo is fantastic. Do you have more examples to show us on the given?
Good question. I'll have to think about that, perhaps. So there might be something in here. You might put in here whatever that is. I think I do. Yeah, I do. I will come back. So in here, it might be, in this example, it will be code to spin up the API service. Whatever that would have be. In this example, it doesn't have to be PowerShell. That could be anything. Anything that needs to be done to get that API service running. But I have got some other examples where I have got some statements in that given section. Cool. Okay, I'm going to move on to a second example just to show you what we might be able to do with this, and then we'll look at how we can do it in infrastructure and some other operations scripting. This example, what I want in here, let me close those files out. That was really good. I'm impressed this actually is working. And you guys are awesome. So PS edit. Let me have a look at that feature file. I think that's the same file that we had before. It is. Let me have a look at what I've done with my steps file. PS edit. No, steps file. Great. So what I've done this time is I've turned in here a parameter. So I request events for meetup group. Now this is regular expressions. Developers, regular expressions, fantastic. If you don't know regular expressions, really, really helpful, really powerful, really awesome, really messy, and really awkward to understand and debug when they get really complicated. But when they're simple, they're awesome. I request events for meetup groups. So question mark parameter, I'm giving it a name. All right, I'm going to capture this as a parameter right here. Right, so group matches this parameter group. And I'm looking for dot star is any character one or more times. So whatever I put in these double quotes, whatever I put in these single quotes, I'm going to turn it into a group variable, a group parameter. And I'm looking for any character one or more times, dot star. That's my regular expression. Cool? You happy with this? Cool. And now I can put that into my URL here. Right? So now, that same code that I've got, I can now try, what about, well, it works for the PowerShell meetup group. What about infrastructure coders? They've got a meetup on Azure Container Service tomorrow night. Anyone interested in that? Cool, let's have a look. Nothing, let's have a look. Is there anything about our expected description that did the same thing here? Right? Expected description. Getting it in as a parameter, and then I'm testing that the response is back with whatever it was that I wanted. So I could, if I run that, it should be exactly the same. Let me do invoke Gherkin. Whoops. Invoke Gherkin. Okay, so that's all the same. I could say, well, let's see, what about, let's have a look at infrastructure coders. If I can type infrastructure coders. Is that right?
Yep, sure.
Okay. Well, they've got a meetup, but they've got nothing. They don't have any sessions about PowerShell and Pester, right? But they do have a meetup group, and it did return true, right? So I did get a response back from infrastructure coders. This is what infrastructure coders is on tomorrow night. Okay, that's the description, and there's nothing there about PowerShell Pester. Okay. However, what I'm doing here is I'm demonstrating that this feature file, this is executable code. This is test, right? This is code, an executable specification. Anyone can write it. Cool. My manual tester is like, now he's going awesome. He's going to be able to keep pace with development, and we'll do this BDD pattern. Right? Write a step, right? Make it fail. Developer, write your code to make it pass. Right? Now I'm going to write the next step. It fails because you haven't written the code yet. Write your code to make that step pass. Now I'm doing another scenario here with perhaps infrastructure coders, because that's a huge block of HTML, and I want to make sure that this works when I call infrastructure coders as well. It's okay if it works with the PowerShell meetup team, but I also want to make sure it also works when I call it for PowerShell, when I call infrastructure coders meetup group. I can make loads of these scenarios, testing for all of the different parameters. The JSON response contains a description, when it contains the date and time, when it contains the particular title with hyphens and apostrophes. I can make loads of scenarios, and they're now all automated. And the developer has to make sure that each one passes. Red, green, refactor, red, green, refactor. So this was me refactoring that code to make it more reusable, okay, cleaning it up. I see Dev's nodding, yes?
So how would you make another test for a different group?
So, okay.
Make another scenario.
So I might have that as, keep that as Melbourne PowerShell meetup group. Oops. That was my PowerShell one, yeah. Was it Melbourne PowerShell meetup? Is that right? Is that what we call it? And then infrastructure coders, I want to make sure that they've got something on Azure. Now, this will work now, but it won't work next month, because they're usually talking about AWS and Docker. But can I get that window back? Did I save it? I did save it. So this time I've got two scenarios. Actually, I didn't put in a scenario heading, right? So that now works, right? Infrastructure coders do have another session, and they actually have a session on Azure. But I might make this up for, I want to look for apostrophes and exclamation points. I now want to look for the date and time, making sure the date and time parameters are coming back the way and the format that I expect. Okay, good. Move on. Another different example?
Yeah.
Good. Cool, excellent. Another volunteer, please. We've got some t-shirts. How many t-shirts do we have? Loads. Cool. Okay, who wants a t-shirt? Come on. Yeah, in front. Come on, that's easy. Come on. Happy.
Nothing's for free.
Coming up in part 2, we play with infrastructure and operations scripts and dive a little deeper into some more advanced features.